okay, it's gonna be quite a late upload, but still, it's gonna be recorded. It's the final raw review of 2019, but uh, it's gonna happen. No matter what I do, it's still gonna happen. So, Monday Night Raw was still crap. It had a terrible wedding, like worst weddings. We had AJ Lee that thought Daniel Bryan was actually going to tie the knot with AJ Lee and forgiving him after the months of abuse to becoming Raw GM. Shocker, right? Triple H, like, these are recent. I'm not going to be like, oh, Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, Edge about to be legit married and have all the power on SmackDown to become WWE champion. No, Triple H ruins it and reveals that she was cheating on Vicky with Crystal or Alicia Fox. And yeah. And the other from a few years ago, Roman Reigns like disrespected Rusev in her little thing. It wasn't a wedding, but I think it was a wedding because I think that was like 2016. And yeah, those are really something you remember. You remember Triple H feuding with Edge, and you remember uh Daniel Bryan getting swerved thanks to Vince McMahon. We had Kevin Owens calling out uh AOP with Samoa Joe coming around uh over for assistance. Then it started up to a huge brawl until Samoa Joe had to be held back by security. Then AOP and Seth Rollins were escorted out of the ring and out the arena. I think so was Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. Thanks they wanted to call for the match next week. And it was okay of a segment. It was an awkward transition for Samoa Joe out of the commentary booth because he was technically one of the better commentators I've listened to because he actually had legit experience, could tell you legit the effects of the holds or moves that were getting concentrated on the floor, and he wasn't trying to actually feel like he was trying to make something iconic or memorable about his tone, about his commentary. He's actually trying to call a match and show how legit some of these fights were. Yeah. There was also a locker room segment involving Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens earlier in the night. And it'll be Rey Mysterio, Owens, and Samoa Joe against AOP next week on Raw, I guess. Or come the Royal Rumble. I really don't care which. They had a TLC rematch against that was the match of the night, and they were trying to recreate that for Aleister Black against Buddy Murphy. And it was an okay match. It was like they were trying to revitalize some spots from the TLC match, and it's like, no, that never works. And the rematch was fine. It wasn't like Andrade and Rey Mysterio when they were getting back-to-back bangers, but it was like it was like they were trying to recreate. They even tried to recreate the turnbuckle spot where Aleister Black had that bloody nose for a majority of the match and still won. It came off a good back and forth. It came off a strike, forearm, top gun hello from Buddy Murphy. Incredible, fast-paced, slick move that ends with two black masses to end the match, and I found that incredibly entertaining. I think there was also a smooth-ass spot in there, but I don't remember entirely. But that was just it just shows how great these guys are, but it doesn't really push their character other than these guys are good wrestlers. If you just are here to just watch these two good wrestlers wrestle, I don't get the motifs, except these are amazing young talent. I don't know Aleister Black's character that he wants to fight everybody. I thought it would be a bit darker. Thanks his name was legit Aleister Black, and he legit has this gothic theme into his entrance. So I thought it'd be a bit more interesting than I want to fight some of y'all. And Buddy Murphy is just a cocky showboating young wrestler. It's basically fine to be like overhyped against next top guy. I get it. But this match really didn't do it for me. It was a good match. It was a good opener, but other than that, no one cared. Next up was Eric Rowan facing off against a jobber. earlier before the show. I think there was like he was with his dumbass pet that I'm sure didn't need to be introduced at all. I'm being really serious. And why would you bring this up? Oh my god. He was like to Lana because their marriage was like near the end of the show and it took extra 11 minutes. Why the hell you need 11 minutes extra overtime for a fucking wedding? What the fuck? And it went into a squash match he had immediately. Some guy named Kip something just got big booted, mandible claw, choke slam twice, just won it. He was like, I don't care to Lana. We don't care. And it was like trying to display, we don't even know what the fuck the pet is. And he never even brings in teasers. It just shows teasers that he eats. That's it. And I'm sure WWE's gonna find some way to undersell this like they did like Sister Abigail and shit. Then we had Charlotte coming to the ring and then show up and have a match with Natalia because she was trying to call out a WWE superstar because she says that I'm gonna be in the Royal Rumble anyway. Why would you say that you are like you say like your Royal Rumble selection isn't gonna be in jeopardy? You're a few weeks until the major pay per view. Why do you just shout that out just to show that you're relevant? Who says that? Who says that? I mean, I can understand that you want to be like, oh, I'm the queen. I'm a 10-time women's champion. Why don't I get the number 30 spot? Wouldn't that be more, I don't know, cocky? Wouldn't that feel a bit more privileged for somebody named Charlotte Flair to sound a bit more privileged? To get a bit of a leg up on the competition? I'm just saying now. And no one's finding this a bit stupid that you can't make something as basic as a cocky, overprivileged generational talent? That's the most simplest thing to do. Charlotte had 10 women's championship reigns, and nobody remembers one of them. Except when she held the Divas title, because Paige said some dumb crap. And she had this forgettable match with Natalia. Back and forth, knee strike, a bit of a small pop. They've wrestled so many times, they think it's an iconic feud. These women were like wrestling back in the day since like NXT for the NXT women's title. And nobody cares. It ended up with her winning by the figure eight. The match was forgettable. No one cared. No one's spot was on the line for the female Royal Rumble. And we have no authority figures to even vouch for that. So there was no reason why this match had to happen, other than these women had to fight. You know why authority figures matter in the show? It shows order. Somebody's orchestrating the strings. It's like having an anime protagonist and he doesn't live with his parent. You know what? Next up was the Street Profits against the OC or Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And it was an okay match, but they were just talking crap. They brought up Humberto, the trophy, and they were bringing up wins against Viking Raiders, even though technically it doesn't matter. Thanks, none of you guys are getting your shot. And the match was like basic as it came, basic hot tags. It ends up with the frog splash off a big boot. They always do this weird thing. Like, I understand they're trying to showcase Montez Ford, but they're always getting Angelo Dawkins, like, too much rest time outside the ring. And that bugs me out, because he's not that bad of a big man to assist. I know this is just a rip-off, crime time. Well, not technically a crime time. It's like an Enzo and Cass, except they're incredibly annoying. Montez Ford thinks he's trying to be more electronic and a bit more exciting. Thinks he frantically twists his fucking neck anywhere until it snaps, and incredibly stretches out his vocal cords until it can look like he's about to get a huge pop. I think that's what Montez Ford is trying to go for. And that might not work on NXT, and it might not work here. So I don't know why he has that sort of promo style. They have an indie level gimmick as to be two black weird guys saying that they're gonna DM, always hyping up the show, and they come up with red cups. How is that a cool gimmick? What kid wants to do that? I see kids still talk about Crime Time more than the Street Profits. What the F is a Street Profit? We had a Crime Time that legit wrestled in baggy jeans, wife beaters, and Tims. Oh my god, that screams 2000s. But that at least was relatable, funny, and these guys did legit stuff. I mean, sure, it was incredibly racist for their gimmick, but it was entertaining. Everybody laughed. Nobody laughs at the Street Profits. All we know is they're incredibly athletic, and they say current slang. So that's anything in my book. The match was okay. Carl Anderson did his badass spine buster. Montez Ford had enough time off, and Angelo Dawkins, I think he did his little running cross body, and then it went to that high ass frog splash Montez Ford does. I don't know why I'm cussing this much, but I'm trying to less on that. So I think this match was supposed to get a title shot for next week. Add a triple threat into the title shot for the Raw Tag Team titles, even though how relevant they are. Then we had Drew McIntyre and his cocky self face off against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. I don't think they even have a name other than Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. And McIntyre comes into the ring acting as cocky as ever, going out and saying, "I will beat you two to the end of your life." He comes out like he smokes cigarettes and he likes to talk to children at the same time. And McIntyre is great because he's been having squash matches with legit competition. I understand we're trying to build him up to actually feel like he's going to be the next top guy. And it feels like we're just going to give him a forgettable reign with the U.S. title come this year. And he came around giving giving up a Claymore kick to both and slapping them silly and double pinning both of these guys. And then he does a kip up after the pinfall and asks for his hand to be raised. That's freaking awesome. That actually shows cockiness, ability, and charisma. What McIntyre was trying to add into a system. I can understand why they want to make him a heel like this, but it's and he calls himself a sexy Scotsman. My boy. Oh, just call yourself whatever you want for now. I don't care. Just oh boy. Oh boy. This doesn't go anywhere, and this was after he tried to call out Randy Orton and feel like Claymore kick over RKO, fight McIntyre over Legend Killer, all that stuff. And what happened after that? He just gets another squash match. Randy Orton's now feuding with AJ Styles. So that feud went nowhere. That promo went nowhere. McIntyre just walked out of that anyway. Next up, we had Randy Orton call out that he had an ACL injury. That might be a losing action, and said he might be coming back from WrestleMania. AJ Styles comes out and it's like I'm not touching you. AJ Styles has a funny promo style that he can be incredibly comedic, even though he's kind of a leader of a heel faction. But he comes out looking like a little teenager every time he's for a promo, acting like a whiny Scuffield, like cussing when somebody else cusses, and screaming at the guy when he's more popular. So it just shows how much AJ Styles can sometimes be out of his element. And that RKO was surprising. So I'm gonna give it for the shock factor, even though Randy Orton was the victim of this spot before when he broke Batista's arm. Batista came back from the arm injury and give him a Batista bomb, and he said he was heading to SmackDown. So yeah, Andrade faced off against Ricochet after Andrade just had a squash match with somebody for no reason. Injured the poor guy, and then yeah, the match really didn't have to happen. There was no there was no reason why this match had to happen other than just make Andrade strong, give him a legit wrestler to fight off against. But other than that, I didn't care about the match. The match was good. Fake elbow, good reversal into the recoil. It looked like if Ricochet pin, he might get a title shot. Got the hammerlock DDT off distraction from Selena Vega over the corner when Ivan Great Shea was getting ready for something. And 1, 2, 3, Andrade wins. The U.S. champion gets his first exhibition win. So, yeah, pretty good match, but after another squash match, I was like, why make an impromptu match for the challenge? I was like, come on, man. Like, no one cares. No one really cares. Andrade's U.S. champion over a house show in Madison Square Garden. No one's really that interested. And I don't like saying that because I like Andrade. I like Selena Vega. I like this motif. Uh, even though the Umberto feud went nowhere. Thanks to they only wrestled on kickoff once and then busted him open. Nothing else happened. And it was all involving Selena Vega, and I know they couldn't do that storyline, so that went nowhere. Even though I don't like calling them storylines anymore, things that don't go anywhere. So that was it. Next up, the creme de la creme of crappy segments. Lana. This is gonna take as much detail as humanly possible. I am using all for one for this bullshit, and I'll tell you, I try my hardest. The irony, the all for one is for Lana. Okay, this segment was crap in every way, shape, or form. I'm telling you from the heart, because Bobby Lashley thought this segment was good. Maybe Lana thought this was good because she got to talk much and be like, "This is all about me. This is all about me. This is all about me." This was incredibly dragged out for over 15 minutes of extra overtime just to show this hyped up feud that went nowhere since the premiere of Raw back in October. For no reason. I'm not doing this to be a dick, I'm being realistic. This feud had no reason to exist. With Rusev and Lashley. And it was like, oh, she's supposed to be the princess, just little princess. This dragged for this long. We even brung like, oh, she cheated on the other. He cheated on the other. He cheated on the other. Some girl that they said cheated. What Lashley cheated on. Was on before. Was married to before. Looked like JoJo that's married to Bray Wyatt. But I don't want to go into that. Then they show there was promos, even on Raw, because I didn't want to say this earlier so I can ruin the surprise. Liv Morgan came in. Liv Morgan, a woman that they made Emelina style build up for, about saying that she's different. She, from being part of the Riot Squad with her crazy highlighted hair and her blue tongue, is now coming in looking like just Mandy Rose, just less attractive. Dog, I'm trying to be straight here. Then it comes up that she's lesbian and surprise attacks Lana. And Lana fights back and Kate gets everywhere. These bitch fight barefoot. Lashley has nothing to do except push the other dude. Then Rusev obviously comes out the big ass cake, because who else is gonna come out the big ass cake? Do you think Boogeyman or something? Comes out the cake, beats the crap out of Lashley, covered in cake, gives him a thrust kick. That's the end of the segment, over 15 minutes long and waste of 3 hours in a quarter. So, Raw was a 3 out of fucking 10. The only positives were the Aleister Black match with Buddy Murphy and the Samoa Joe promo in the locker room, because he's a pure badass as much as he wears the same stuff for over 15 years and pretty much doesn't change what he does. He's still one of the better wrestlers and better in promos than you'll ever think. And nothing else really enticed me for the show. Nothing. Except Lesnar's gonna be coming next week. I really don't care. McIntyre was at least fun, but it shows like he has like no other charisma to like carry a show. We know he's good at wrestling. He's a decent heel, but he doesn't act like a cocky heel like this. He does kip ups and shit, even though he shows like he's a Scottish monster and he's physically strong. Why are you giving him squash matches? Let him feud against Lesnar for the world title or something, or for the U.S. title, and show that he's like a freaking mercenary. Do something like that. Show that there's a plot and there's a confliction to everything. I don't want a feud like Lars Sullivan against the Lucha House Party, and I have to see freaking Drew McIntyre feud with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder for 2 more weeks. And this marriage, this entire feud with Lashley and Rusev gotta die. You gotta die on Raw. It's not dying on pay per view. No one wants to wait for this. Next week, give them like a street fight for the custody of Lana. That's it. Sure, that sounds incredibly dumb, but god damn it, do something. This feud gotta end. No one really cares. And for God's sakes, get a GM. Get a freaking GM. I'm begging you. No one wants to watch this impromptu match, challenge everywhere BS. It goes nowhere. It doesn't build up character. It doesn't build up future matches. It doesn't build up anything. You need a manager. You need a GM. You need a commissioner, something to show that there's some authority around here. If you have 4 of the McMahons say that they're controlling WWE, and none of them barely even show up. Stephanie only shows up when it's like an important event. Shane's injured. Vince isn't here because he's 77 years old and he doesn't want to break a hip off his first step out the ring ramp. And Triple H is better off getting ready for NXT TakeOver than to bother with this BS of a show. It gets a 3 out of 10. We're done. This show sucked. Is that it? We good? Thank you. F you. And a late Happy New Year.